This is Between Hook Sets. I'm Jason Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the Fishing Crew. Yes, sir.
How we doing, buddy?
Pretty good. You're traveling.
I am. We're not very far out, so we're going to start tonight as I'm in my pickup. As we're getting ready towards the Bassmaster Classic, we're about 3 miles from the turn to your house. So, and then we're probably going to finish this in your house. So it'll be an interesting show tonight.
It's going to be extremely interesting, no doubt, because you're going to be sitting down a little bit lower than me now that I know that. But that's okay. I can drop my chair down. We'll figure it out, no doubt. You could tell I'm very happy that I'm very happy that we're headed to the Bassmaster Classic. It's going to be a ton of fun for all the people that we're going to get to meet, get to see. I see there's a ton of people going to be down there that I generally run into at shows and such. So it'll be a good time there. I wonder if Dan Spengler is going to be down there. I really haven't looked at Facebook today. I've been kind of busy doing a lot of other things, trying to take naps because I know we're going to be driving late tonight. And we've got a chauffeur.
We plan on trying to get to Topeka at least so we can get up in the morning and get there. So
yeah, I hope so. If we can do that, it'd be fun to be at Media Day. That would be a blast. I would have a ton of fun that way. So, by the way, I did leave the door unlocked, so you should be able to walk in. Nate, you got to go through the kitchen and then around to the other room.
So
you know,
yeah, I mean, we've already had a big day, man. We had a great, we're pretty pumped. I've only been paying attention to the Bassmaster stuff since they came to Pier and then watching the Classic, and it's been a lot of fun. And it's kind of always been one of those things as a tournament director. I want to go watch the production. I want to see what they do, see if we can bring any nuances back to what we do and see these things. But I'm also a fan of the Bassmasters now. I really like to watch these guys. I got a few favorites, although they suck on my fantasy team. But today was a big day. We had Trey McKinney jump on with us. What a fantastic person he is. He literally took the time out of his day in a Popeyes parking lot to give us.
Right.
We asked for 10 minutes, and it was about 23 minutes, I think it ended up being. So, I mean, all in all, a fantastic start to this trip. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really is, no doubt. The video, the restrictions that we have, we could only go 10 minutes, so I had to break it into 2. But that's okay. There's just going to be one short little, I don't know, maybe there won't even be a little stall between the video. But we're going to roll this thing, and you can go ahead and comment, and you can ask Trey questions. And when we run into him at the Bassmaster Classic, we'll make sure that he goes to the page and answers those questions because I'm sure he'll do it. He is one heck of a kid. So I'm excited. So should we roll the tape?
Roll the tape.
Let's roll the tape.
Trey, hey, man, thanks for joining, jumping on. We really appreciate it. Class act, man. I really do appreciate you hopping on. And you were so much fun to watch on Fork. I think you were a few pounds off of setting the all-time record. I mean, you've got in your first 2 tournaments. I mean, you've obviously got a lot more tournaments, high school and all that under your belt, but first 2 Elite Series, you are the all-time youngest person ever to win, youngest century belt holder, and you weighed 133 pounds, I think, if I remember right.
It was crazy. It was like one of them things that I didn't realize. Like Paul Elias's record was, I think, 132 something. And I think I was a pound 9 ounces off of the all-time record. And just to, be in a tournament where to be able to catch that many bass, like I said, I don't know what the average weight is on 4 days on 130 pounds, but they felt huge, Like every time I landed one, I was like, if I caught a 4, this is how bad it was, really. You go everywhere and I catch a 4-pounder and I'm like, let's go, like pumped up, everything. I'd catch a 4-pounder and I'd be like, dude, I got to cull this one out. Like, this is not it. I can't let this one stay in the box all day long. Like, we got to get a 5-pounder. That was like my my cutoff. Like if I caught a 5-pounder, I was like, okay, we got one. But if I caught a 4, I was like, I don't got none of the box. I gotta call out all these. Like that's how crazy it was. It's kind of stressful, really, because like when I got the first couple bites of the day, it was a 2-pounder on the last day anyway. It was like I think I caught a 2-pounder, a 4-pounder, and I caught 1 5, and I was like, I got one fish. Like this ain't good. Pretty well through the day, and then we just slowly started working on it. I caught an 8, and then I caught a 7, and then I caught a 6, and then I caught another 7. I was like, now we're working on them, like that's the kind of the kicker on it is on tournaments like that. Usually I've always kind of like second guessed myself on a slug fest. Like up at home, we catch 5 fish and you're getting paid usually. And here, I mean, it don't matter what kind of 5 fish you catch, they gotta be big ones. It was a little different mindset, but it was an unbelievable thing. And actually, the crazy part was, I don't know if they showed it online, but I had the fish on to break the record and I lost it at the boat. But
I heard that
throughout the whole week, I lost 1 bass. Like I can't say any like small, big, in between. I lost 1, and there's really nothing I could do. Sitting so high in the water column, I kind of flipped my jerk bait out to him and I twitch, and when he ate it, he was already like coming up. And by the time I could react and like keep my rod down and pull him real hard to the left, he'd already thrown it. Like it happened just like that fast. And but it was an unbelievable week. I got to catch them. I love catching them like that. And the last day was a fun day because I got to catch them up shallow. And that's just where I come from. Everybody sees a kid with active target and they're like, oh, that's him. That's their game. But it's kind of goes both ways, really. From where I've come from, it's laydowns. It's a bright chartreuse and yellow spinnerbait. It's a chatterbait. It's a jig. And if you want to get finessey with it, you throw 20-pound line with a Texas rig. So that's just from where I come from, So, at most you'll go to like a shaky head on 12-pound line on like a bridge, and that's finessing them around home. So it's a little different game, but I'm starting to expand my knowledge on a whole bunch of different, I guess, techniques that I like. And it's been amazing how much I've learned through the opens. And this year I've like tripled my knowledge from when I was just fishing at home and knowing what I did at home. And I kind of took what I'd done at home and it slowly worked through the first couple events. And then all of a sudden I started, bringing in new techniques, bringing in new everything. And all of a sudden I'm like, okay, maybe this does work. I done really well in the opens and I just kept building on that knowledge. And it was unbelievable.
So just so you know, I did the math of 6.5 pound average on your fish for 130 pounds.
That's pretty awesome.
That's crazy.
You're young. I mean, you're 19 years old. Just turned 19, like the week before Fork, right? I mean, so, following this bass stuff, did you come up through the high school ranks? What's your history getting into now the Elite Series?
Absolutely. So, basically, ever since birth, ever since I could walk, I was out there. We have a 2-acre pond, and there's something about it. I just liked it. I like tricking something in its own habitat to bite or to get a shot off. Same thing with hunting. It's the same thing. Is you have to trick them to that point, and then you have to execute. So that's kind of like the challenge of it. Is it's like deer hunting. You work all season to get this deer within 30 yards, and then you got to make the shot. Then you got to retrieve it. So it's kind of like the same thing with fishing at the same time. I can find the fish, but then you got to catch them, and then you got to get them to bite, and then you got to land them. That's just the thing that really I liked. I grew up hunting with my dad. I grew up fishing, and I just started gaining on it. And then I was exposed to tournaments through Rick Cheatham. It was kind of like my mentor, coach, now fishing partner, now buddy. It's kind of went through all different phases, and it was a pretty special thing. He was the one that took me to. We started out junior events because I was still like really young, like. I would say, I forget when we started, maybe 10, 11, something like that. And the only tournaments I could really get into was the juniors. And we started doing really well. And we started kind of going. And my cousin, Trevor McKinney, was like dominating high school. And I was like, that's awesome. That's what I want to do. And then he made it through the college event and made it to the Bassmaster Classic. And I was like, dude, you can do this. It kind of gave me a shot. Like my dream can come true. And we just kind of slowly built on it. And before I know it, I was like turning almost 16. And I was in high school and I was like, I just don't know. I fished a few high school events and we done good. We placed, I think, second at one nationals at lacrosse and a few other tournaments. We won some opens. And I was just like, what's the next step I can take? I was like, I know I'm building my knowledge, but what's the next step? Because you really don't realize like how much you've learned until you're in your boat by yourself with a co-angler, and you're like, you don't have any ideas you can run by anybody, and you got to go fishing. That's the difference when you realize from high school to like opens or BFLs. That's when you realize how much you've learned or anything, or what do you have, So I jumped into BFLs as soon as I turned 16, and Rick was like, you might as well try it. If you're gonna learn you're gonna have to learn how to get beat at some point. I was like, okay, yeah, I need to learn that, and it's a tough. Nobody wants to get beat. And the first tournament I got into, I was like, we practiced, spent a lot of time on it, and it's going against your like local heroes. It's like everybody, these are the hammers of Illinois and everything. And I jumped in my first tournament, and I think I finished fifth or third, one of the two. And I was like, maybe, it kind of gave me that glimmer of hope. And we kind of went on through the year, and I ended up winning Angler of the Year the first year. And I had one bomb that was, it kind of set me back. Like I finished, I think I had like 2 fish on the Ohio River. That place has got me every time. And so we somehow managed to win Angler of the Year. And then the next year, I ended up winning Angler of the Year again. And I was like, what's the next step I can take? What's the next big step? And somebody mentioned the opens. And I was like, man, I don't know. Like them are the big guys. Like it's different traveling 3 hours in your state to traveling 18 hours across the world. Like it was a big step, and we took it. And the first event, the first day I had like 14 pounds, which home that's a really good bag. And I was like in 50th. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna get absolutely stomped. And the next day, I kind of was like scratched everything, done what I like to do, basically throw a jig all day. And I ended up bringing almost, I think 19, 15, almost, I think 19, something like that, right at 20 pounds. And we jumped up in the top 20, and it just spiraled, rolled from there. I had the confidence to do it, and the Lord willing, if it's path is the way it's supposed to go, and I just followed it, and it worked. It worked amazing. Here we are, getting ready to go into the third event after the Classic, and it's a dream come real.
That is just awesome. And I like one thing you said there, that you like to hunt these fish, and you watch all these people call you young kids scopers, and
yeah.
You said it best. We have to hunt these fish, but I still have to trick them. Right?
Yeah.
Like I still have to, and I tell everybody, the live scope doesn't catch you fish. It doesn't. The scope doesn't get you fish. You have to still catch them. And I just see you pull your duck calls out, man. We can have long hours of conversation.
I love it. That's the thing. Hey, no matter I'm hunting, I have these things everywhere. That's all I got to do. That's all. I just love the outdoors aspect of it. Like if I'm not fishing, I'm hunting. Like that's just all it is. And like and that's like a lot of people take a different approach sometimes, and I think I do. Like I have to be fresh. I have to be hungry for it. And that's what hunting does for me. Is like at the end of the year, boom, scratch it. I don't think about fishing. I'm hunting. I switch to that mode, and I got my gun in my truck all the time. I got my calls, I got decoys, and I'm scouting, going around with my buddies, trying to find the next hunt we got. And it just kind of like makes me have a fresh mindset, like if I fished all year, I don't feel like I would be as hungry for it as if I had like 2 months off hunting, not thinking about it. And when I get that first bite after hunting season, it fuels me. I get excited. Like I'm like, where can I get my next bite? What spot am I going to next? And then it's a different mindset for me. I'm hungry for it. And for me to do good, that's what I need. So that's what hunting season does for me, is it just it's a mental reset basically. And I love it.
Right, man, that's awesome. I love that you pulled duck calls out of all things, because I'm a diehard duck hunter, man. Like, yep. I love shooting my ducks. And Brian's got like an old false wooden call in the show.
Art Lujan made that for me from Fault Calls. So yeah,
absolutely.
I'll tell you, got to keep the duck call in just an arm's length away from you. Honestly. Are you sure you're 19 and not 29 or 39? You are an impressive dude. Holy cats.
So
my eyes are watering here because I'm like, this guy's got it going on. You're a champion. Weren't you? You won AOI as a teenager. What were you, 17, 18 Angler of the Year?
Yeah, actually, I was actually the youngest ever. I won it at 16. And the first year I went into the BFLs, and that was kind of the first record I'd ever set. And I was like, like that is awesome, just like, I mean, the Lord kind of, the Lord's put so many people in my path, and it's not just like me being 19. I don't have like all the wisdom, like it's the simple stuff, like changing a tire. I didn't know how to change a tire. Like I got out there and I had a flat tire. I'm jumping on this little ratchet like this because I can't get the nuts to break loose. And somebody comes over and be like, "Hey, you want me to show you how to do that?" I'm like, yeah, I do. I would really like that. And he puts 2 or 3 extensions together and he just breaks it loose. I'm like, man, what have I been doing? Like, it's just like simple stuff. And it's been an amazing journey.
Well,
Wow.
and I think you said it best. You took the help, right? And you didn't feel like, and people give our younger generation such a bad time nowadays. And it's great to see a light of hope with kids like you. And there's plenty kids like you out there. And I hate to be like the old guys talking down to you, but it is so cool to see that. Like, I know kids, I got a 15-year-old daughter and her friends be like, no, I know what I'm doing. And they wouldn't have a clue, like it's so great that you're willing to learn. You respect the older people. Is your dad and your parents into fishing, or is this something like you've blown up in the family? I mean, obviously your cousin, you said.
Yeah, basically my dad liked to fish as a younger kid, anything else like that. He liked it. He still likes to go fishing if they're biting. He'll call me from the store and be like, "Hey, are they biting out there?" I'm like, "Yeah, you better get here," and we'll go out there and smash them. But it's one of the things where I guess I'd be kind of the curveball of the family, because my grandpa had the store, and it's kind of 3 generations of riding horses, barrel racing. My grandpa used to do like jumping horses, everything. Like I forget how many head they had. They had a bunch, and that's just what kind of my dad done. And they sold the store. And all of a sudden, my grandpa did. They sold the store, and it went out of business. And they were like, okay, or whatever. My dad, he had kind of, I guess, drive to run it or whatever. So he bought it back after the other guy went out of business. And now we've been in business for like, I think 31 years. Wow. And so it's definitely kind of the curveball of the family. My sister, she's riding the horses. She's done really well on that part of it. She's done everything, kind of like me fishing. She just took up the levels. And now she's training horses, trying to find the one she likes, keeping the few that we do like, and going off and traveling all over in Texas, Oklahoma, anywhere she can for the next barrel race. So it's been pretty cool.
She won $100,000 on TJR Malibu Eddie, if I remember right. 100,000 in a slot race. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So she was kind of like. So like that's the same thing with me. Like entry fees, like this is like a special event, and entry fees were like $5,000 or whatever. She's like, man, I don't know. Like I don't. This is kind of like a new horse, She'd been training it, working up to this moment or whatever. And she's like, she really didn't have confidence in it, but she did at the same time. So she done the entry fee, and that's a pretty steep deal to go out there and you could knock a barrel and $5,000 is just gone, And once she done that, it gave her a lot of confidence, keep going. And now she's got a whole bunch of horses, trying to train them up just like that one. And hopefully she'll have 4 or 5 dingers here in a little bit.
That's awesome. So I'm thinking Eddie. So right away, because I used to have horses, I bred horses a little bit. So I'm thinking there's got to be an Eddie Stinson horse, which goes back to Dash for Cash at least. So I'm like, okay, that's some serious foundation stuff. You get the 3 bars, the Go Man Go, the Leo jet deck. And I had a mare, her name was Ms. Featherstone, and she was Go Man Go, the old man granddaughter. So that goes back to the 3 bars. You got the top deck and all that fun stuff. And then I had a Dun Stallion that was Gold Seeker bars and jet deck. He was a buckskin, actually. He should have been a Dun. But horses are a blast. They're not cheap. But boy, I'll tell you what, if you win a race, you can win a pile of money, no doubt.
Absolutely. And that's the thing I didn't realize how much, like, it's kind of like, I mean, both of our sports is like, basically you're just professional gamblers. Like whoever makes the right choice, I guess, wins or whatever. And I hate to say that, but it kind of is, fishing's the same way. And because them, they have to breed them or whatever. And you could pay, insane amount of money for this bloodline. And then all of a sudden you're trying to train him and he's not good at all. And then you have to then you could redo it again and then get the best horse you've ever had, so it's kind of a unknown factor, so, and some horses are good for some people and some horses ain't, some people, everybody has a different, I guess, gauge on what a horse fits them for, so it's definitely an interesting, type of thing. I don't really ride that many horses. Usually every once in a while, actually Yeah, it's been a long time. But like I just think it's cool, like how my sister, she trained or whatever, and like her horses or whatever, she's got them. That's what she does. She spends so much time like me fishing, and she's got them where if she puts her feet up or whatever, they'll back up and everything like that. I'm like, that's just, it's crazy. You could teach something like that wild, but kind of be calm, and it's kind of pretty cool to see like different horses, different personalities. Some of them are just goofy as all get out, but some of them are just kind of like focused. It's kind of crazy.
I like to talk to horses. I was out at our South Dakota State University rodeo arena, and there was a red horse standing in a corral, and he looked over at me, and I'm like, oh, I'll give him a nicker. So, and he looked at me like, and he's like, well, you don't look like a horse, but you sure sounded one. And then I let him have a, and he's like, and he wouldn't stop staring at me. So I nickered at him again, and it's almost like he shook his head and put his head back. Now it was
Like we are
amazing.
doing
I
right
love to
now.
talk to horses. It's a ton of fun. So hey, it's
Trey,
been a ton of fun to talk to you. We've had you on probably 5 or 10 minutes longer than we planned. It was such a great opportunity to talk to you. We're very excited. We're all headed to the Bassmaster Classic, so we're going to meet up with you and meet you in person probably tomorrow. So we're very excited for that. And I guess folks should know that you're in the Popeyes parking lot right now. We've kept you away from dinner. But then you're flying out with Brian New and gonna make it to the Classic. So you'll be at. I'm trying to remember the booth you're going to be at.
I think I'm gonna be at St. Croix, Seagar, FXR. We're gonna have a bunch of different timestamps, Yamaha, everything like that. So and there's a whole bunch of new products from like Seagar stuff. If y'all ever do come, as well as St. Croix. We have the new ride, the Physics, coming out. It's a really cool ride. Y'all should come out, check it out. I know FXR, they haven't been to the Classic that many times. It's a really cool product. They have everything from 0 below to fishing shirts when it's 90, 100 degrees, so it's a pretty cool product.
To motocross gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is actually. So like I have this giant helmet, I wear in my boat, like, cause it helps. Like you don't realize like going out there, and this is the thing too, like just kind of on your health side of thing, just being able to have the right equipment, like the right sun shirts, everything like that is going on. Like, and that's what I'm trying to watch now because I'm young. I want to be able to do this for a long time. And that's like, you don't realize it, but running down the lake at 70 for 45 minutes, that's hard on your hearing. Like people don't realize that, but the longer you go, like Terry Bolton said it best or whatever. I was talking to him, he said, huh? I was like, dude, and like look at him in the eyes. And he's like, running. I've run down the lake so many times it's hurt my earring. So ever since then, if I make a long run, I'm wearing my helmet, to keep that wind off my ears, because it does. After a long time, a period of time, it does. Everything starts to build up, and the lot less you can do that, hopefully the better on you'll be longer on.
Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been absolutely great to have you. Before we go, can I get a big yeehaw?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Hey, we'll see you at the Bassmaster Classic. Bassmaster Classic. I need to clean off my spurs here. I hadn't ridden horse for a while. I'll tell you what, they're pretty shiny though. But the one thing that you do is you grind the rowels down so they don't hurt the horse so bad. And some people like it. They got this really big. What the hell are you doing? By golly, look at that! It's Benny. I've never had you sitting this close to me. I feel like we're in a boat.
We are, yeah.
Yeah. Gee, in a 10-foot dinghy. Well, that was a lot of fun. Holy cats.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was just way too much fun. He was super infectious.
Yeah, I was so pumped when I got off the thing. I think I gave you a couple of these when we were done. It was so fun. He was so infectious to listen to. He just, you don't believe he's 19, like you said in the middle of the interview. Like, it was just so incredible listening to that kid talk and hearing, his future. He wants to do this forever. He wants to be the Rick Clunn, the new Rick Clunn, and that's going to be so cool to follow along in his career. And I talked to some guy afterwards, and he's like, yeah, my buddy told me if you could ever buy stock in a human, that's who you buy stock in. Yeah, he's going to do something.
Isn't that the truth? The kid is just absolutely amazing. So Austin Felix, Josh Douglas, Easton Fothergill, Bob Downey, and Matt Pangrak. We did not hear from them in our roulette, but like I said, one all or none. And we got the one that we really wanted.
Yeah,
that was the one we went after, and we're excited to have him on the show. And I'm sure we'll run into some of these guys down there. they will show remorse for missing the program. I'm positive of it.
You know,
They'll apologize.
for him to take time out of his day for two nobodies from South Dakota was pretty awesome. I mean, it was pretty cool to see. And I just can't wait to see more of these guys, because a lot of these guys are like that. And, you know, we're just small timing up here, but
yeah,
it'll be fun.
Oh, it'll be a blast. By the way, here's Trey in his motocross gear, the FXR. He's going to be at that booth, by the way, if you're going to be down there. Swing by and say hello. And if you want to peek at his sister's horse, there is TJR Malibu Eddie, won her $100,000, a beautiful yellow horse. I'm a buckskin fan. I love the Duns, but the Palominos are, oh boy, they're
I don't know anything about a horse.
That's all right.
You know,
you don't have to know a whole lot about a horse. You know, I'll whinny and nicker at you a couple of times this weekend when we're down at the Bassmaster Classic. By the way, you'll see there I'm gonna try to get better at this. Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing. I haven't checked my team now for golly gosh, quite a while. So, Cade, yeah, isn't that the truth? He is something else. Boy, I'll tell you what, in just a highly impressive kid, and what a ton of fun. It was great to have him on, and it'll be great to have him on in through the outdoors. And I'm guessing, I don't know what to expect when we get to the Classic, because we've never been to one, but we'll probably do a little live here and there and everywhere and have a good time. I see the kids playing at the end of the stairwell there. Nate, you can peek around the corner and say hi to everybody. He's hiding. He's the voice of Takeoff.
He's the voice of Takeoff. Yeah, absolutely.
That's coming up here. Quick, give the tournaments a shout out. You got a couple coming up.
Yeah,
here in April.
Start first weekend of April at Cedar Shore. That's the first one. Still spots in that one. Then we go from there to the Lake Oahe Pike Masters, the 20th of April, I believe. There's still a few spots in that. Very unique tournament. 4-person team, $400 entry fee. You can fish it from the boat. You can fish it from shore. You just got to be by your partners. And the biggest 8 pike win it. It's really good lucrative payouts, a $400 entry fee. A lot of fun to see those big giant toothy slimers come out of Lake Oahe. So a lot of fun there. Then from there we go to the Lake Sharp Showdown. The last weekend of April, brought to you by the Pier Chamber. 100% payout in that event. A meal, $450 entry fee, 60 teams max. I think the payout's like $12,000 for first place in 60 teams, plus big fish, plus big bags for each day. All brought to you by the Pier Chamber and all the Pier local area businesses. Second year of that one, trying to grow it. I had some 40-some teams last year. I think we're sitting about that 35 mark right now. Talked to a few guys in the last few days that are going to get into that. And then from there, we go to our Bassmasters.
Yeah.
The South Dakota Bass Governor's Cup. It'll be 3 years old this year. It's been a lot of fun to watch that. We moved it. We started second weekend of May. Mother's Day got in the weekend last year. Went to the first weekend of May. And I think I found its home the first weekend of June. Pretty pumped for that one. Kind of from what I understand from these bass guys I talked to, we could have some pre-spawn. We could have some up on beds. Kind of have all the different fishing techniques at it. 6 bass a day, I think it is, or 5 or 6, and you're looking at 20 plus pounds a day. So it's gonna be pretty awesome. And then we go from there to the big one, South Dakota Governor's Cup. Unfortunately, if you're watching, it's already full.
Yeah,
200 teams with a waiting list, filled it in 9 days. There might be a special. 50 years, man. Oldest walleye tournament in the country, in the world, as far as we can tell. Pretty jacked about that one. Couple special things coming. Those past champions be looking for an invite. We're doing a night of champions dinner Thursday night before. So be looking for an invite if you've won one. If you won one and I don't know, you can go to the Fishing Crew page, go to the Governor's Cup, scroll all the way to the bottom and see all the past champions. If you've won one and I don't have you on there, please contact me. We're working on getting the rest of the stuff off of that. But please reach out to me. Let me know if you've won one, because I don't want to miss anybody in that. And hopefully we get a lot of recordings, because there's going to be some stories. I've talked to a few people. I mean, I think you could write a book on fishing in that room that night. So it's going to be pretty awesome to see all them guys hopefully converge. We get everybody there and converge together and hear some great stories of the past Governor's Cup. So looking forward to that. We got one more special thing. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag because it's still in the air, but it's looking better than it ever has in my years of running the Gov Cup. So looking forward to it. Great tournament season, but before that, we're going to go watch some tournaments.
Oh boy, you know what? It's going to be a ton of fun. Say, by the way, since you're in my basement for the first time, I'll give you a little bit of a tour. The painting there, Charlie Russell painted me. That was me back in there you go, in I don't know 1880 something. I've been accused of being super old, so yeah, that's me in a gunfight. Charlie Russell painted, and then that walleye that's above Charlie Russell was the walleye that I caught with your dad. One year, he's like, hey, come out. You need to drop the Zebco and use my spinning rod with my $300 G Loomis that I freaked out at. But it caught me a nice fish, and I painted that in my perch here this week. So a ton of fun. But anyway, welcome to my humble abode in the studio. So.
You brought the value down by that poster.
Yeah, which one? Oh, this one over.
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Yeah, you brought the value down, definitely.
I don't know, man. I'm a big Benny fan. He's one of my favorite dudes, almost close to Nate. He is. He's one of my favorite dudes. So excited, going to have a good time. Thank you for watching. We're going to wrap it up because I'm just too cotton picking antsy.
Yeah, we got a long drive ahead of us. And...
yeah, I haven't slept in 6 days, so I just want to get down to Tulsa and get to it. So thank you for watching. Thank you very much for supporting the show. We do appreciate it. Great to have you guys around, and we'll come to you from Tulsa at the Bassmaster Classic. Thank you much. Oh, yeah,
my boy was here, he'd have